New idea to promote Rhode Island. We'll talk about it tonight.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
This evening, you're going to find out how to become an ambassador for the state of Rhode Island. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that much work. If you end up sitting in the right place at the right time, you might just be ordained. Well, that's probably an overstatement, but we'll get to it. The chief marketing officer for the state is here to explain that and to kind of talk about the overall status of marketing the state of Rhode Island and tourism and all of that. Prelude to what I think is going to be an interesting fall where new announcements are forthcoming. Great to have you in. Thanks very much for tuning in. It's just so cliche. Everyone says it, and it feels like it's redundant, but our thoughts and prayers with everybody in Florida. I know we've all been in touch with everybody down there, and are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I'll tell you, one of the weird things about this whole thing, one friend of mine's daughter was down in Miami Beach area, and he scolded her to get out. Where'd she go? Jacksonville. Oops. I mean, that's kind of where this whole thing went. I have another family friend who encouraged another family member to get out of the West Coast and head up to Tallahassee. And so it was just one of those things where you were chasing your tail or running away from it. Hopefully we'll have a Key West and any key left by the time this whole thing is over. By the time you've seen this show, you probably see more video because we tape early in the afternoon. Interestingly enough, we didn't have anything in the midday from anywhere. So keep your fingers crossed on that. And of course, you know what day today is. It's amazing, the 16th anniversary of 9/11. Anniversary and 9/11 kind of hardly mix, but this is how we refer to it. I don't know, it feels like yesterday and it feels like a long time ago, depending. I think one of the ways you mark this is by looking at your children. My kid was, in kindergarten, and now she's out of college. And these young people have dealt with that indelibly etched in their minds, and some of them didn't really understand it. To be honest with you, I think a lot of us didn't understand it. But stay in touch with the young people on this for a couple of reasons. A, so they understand what happened there, and B, that they never forget what happened there. Let's move on to the subject for this evening. Have you seen the pin? There it is. It was interesting. I don't see this as a blockbuster in any way, shape, or form, but it was kind of neat to have this previewed on the radio program on Friday, and our chief marketing officer for the state of Rhode Island is here to talk all about this. Lara Salamano is our guest. Welcome in.
Hello, Dan.
Thanks for having me. You're welcome. You have people in Florida as well, right?
I do.
How did they do?
Well, I have one cousin who is paralyzed from the neck down. He stayed hunkered down and apparently is okay. And my aunt left and went north. But I know, it's terrible. It's crazy. Miami looks like it's washed out. Yeah,
it's almost like you want to market the state. Hey, it wasn't us. Come visit us. But it feels kind of cheap and dirty to do that.
Keep perspective, right?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. How you like your new gig?
I love it. 14 months now.
I know, 14 months. Is it like a quick turnaround or moving the Titanic?
Moving the Titanic.
Why?
Government is challenging. I do not come from government. I come from private sector, I think, as you know. So I marketed a lot of fun brands, Nickelodeon, Epix, for Viacom. And I love marketing the state more than I love marketing anything. It's so fun. There's so much to talk about, from a restaurant to beaches to bikeways to green trails. But government is challenging, and you are dealing with public money. You have to be very careful about every decision that you make. So it isn't the same as at a Viacom, let's take a risk, let's do this. You really have to be even more strategic and more thoughtful and more creative, I think.
Okay, so you came in on the tail end of the cooler and warmer thing, right?
I did.
I don't know, I thought it was going to be one of those things that really rocked Rhode Island's psyche. I don't think so. It's not a 38 Studios problem. No. It's just one of those things where people go, I mean, when it was happening, it was like, what? And the stupidity factor was discussed over and over again. But I don't see it as a lingering dilemma. Do you?
No, not at all. It was, it was a tagline, and I think the misconception is, which a lot of people still speak to, we spent $5 million on that, which is absolutely not true. There was $200,000 spent on a logo and a tagline. The tagline was removed. The logo still lives. We use it across commerce and tourism, and some other state agencies are using it as well. We've updated it and made it, a little. We changed colors and just made it, more appealing. So there was no waste there. Then there was, you know, a lot of research that was done. That money was used for PR, and so we've been able to ride that and use what was done to bring it out. I think it did hurt the psyche, and you know, that was something that, you know, there was just that we had to turn that around for folks.
Well, we'll talk about your new program here in our next segment, but talk to me about what the challenge is with the state and the amount of money that we invest in this. You know, I've always been, well, you answer the question. Is it a challenge with what I would think is a limited budget to actually do work here?
Very limited. Many states, you know, our surrounding sister, you know, states have, you know, 3, 4, 5 times what we have for a budget. So we do have to be very creative with it. Again, we've got to, what's been wonderful is that we have realized that we have very low awareness about Rhode Island, but once people find out about it, they want to come. So it isn't changing, having a negative state or something that, it is just putting it in front of people and showing them what the beauty is. So that's not the biggest marketing challenge to have, creating awareness.
Yeah, the awareness thing is really interesting. You know, you find people who get it in pockets, but you know, I came from Western Massachusetts 18 years ago. People there, it's an hour and 20-minute ride.
It is.
They're like, where's it?
It's true.
I'm not
My
kidding.
parents grew up in Springfield, so I know.
Well, that's the region. That's it.
That's right. Yeah.
Where is it? Exit 10A. You know when you go to the Red Sox game? It's way, way, way in front of the exits that you take. Oh, okay. Unless they've been in Misquamicut. Okay,
That's right.
Then they get it.
That's right. Newport, we're known for Newport, but then there's so much more than just a sailing city. We have all of this food in Providence, and we've got the most blue water trails of anyone, and green trails now.
Oh.
So we have so much to sell.
Why is this lack of awareness still prevalent for us? Is it just years and years of just not saying anything about ourselves?
We were down, before the governor instituted this budget, we were down to $300,000 at the state tourism office. There was one person who was trying to do sales meetings, and so we didn't have advertising. There just wasn't anything out there.
Did you ask in the process to take this gig why the malaise has existed? Did you worry about that? Because obviously it advises where you're going to be.
I didn't. I mean, there were a lot of reasons that it was going to be challenging to take this job, and I just felt like I believe in the state so much that I was going to figure it out. And I believe too we had an opportunity. There was such an opportunity. If it hadn't been done before, look at all the things that we could do. And honestly, all of our platforms, I mean, we are just seeing everything is growing. We have 1 million viewers on our website. You know, everything's growing. Just you look at our
website.
Our
the website is not good. The website is not up to standard.
There will be a new one.
I'm looking for
very
videos
soon,
and everything else for
Dan.
the show and everything else. I mean, it's just not up to standard.
Yeah.
This is part of the Titanic concept that it takes a long time to move things around.
Yeah, and I think you remember it was one of the first things I did when I came in, but it's taken 9 months to build it. It is not an easy task, and again, this is going to be a huge data collector. So someone's going to come to our site. We're going to know everything about them. We're going to know if they saw an ad and came to our site and booked a trip and where they went and what airline they flew. So it's going to be a great CRM tool for us, but that is not easy to do. And listings, 3,500 listings from across the state, you know, with photos. I mean, this is all a lot of work.
I think you said something smart when the cooler and warmer thing was winding down. You said, listen, we're going to kickstart this thing again, but we're not going to get all hyped up on a slogan. No. I know you got some stuff coming up, and I hope you'll come back shortly because you'll have something, what, in October, November-ish, right, that we can chat about. Still no slogan?
No, we won't do a new slogan. And honestly, when you look across, I mean, we are the ocean state, and you look across, you know, other states. Some have them, some work, you know, and even pure Michigan, I think, was sort of the ideal for everyone. But I say all the time, Michigan's a beautiful state, but I say all the time, there's Flint water there, you know. I mean, it worked well, but I don't think that's going to make or break it. It's going to be a clever ad campaign that is going to break through the clutter, that is going to make people, when they are searching on a website to book travel, and they see something pop up and they think, oh, I'd like to go there. Let me check that out more. And then they click on it, and then they come to our new beautiful site, and they can actually plan a trip, and they can share with their friend, and they could say, you know what, I'm really into art, or I'm really very much into activities, so let me plan a trip around that. And we have all of that will be in that site, so you can literally plan a trip and share it.
You know, marketing people tend to get hyped, you know, all focused on the key phrase, the key slogan, and you seem to be much more relaxed about that, but yet use the word clever. So I've always wondered whether or not the keep it simple, stupid philosophy in this whole thing ought to prevail, and that is throw some more tonnage into the ability to market the state. And when I have a small marketing company on the side where I consult small businesses on their branding and the like, and one of the things that sometimes you can get too hyped up on is trying to name yourself or rename yourself. Sometimes what you have named yourself is not what you are, and so you've got to revisit that. But it seems to me that one of the things that you're running around a $4.5 million budget, which is still a drop in the bucket for what really ought to be accomplished here. It seems to me you ought to be standing on your head just saying, wait a second, we just need to shout louder and more on multiple platforms and get more dough here. Am I missing that?
No, absolutely, and all of the regions will say that. And I believe that even the legislature is starting to see that, and my whole philosophy and strategy coming in was, let's build confidence. Let's do things that work. Let's show metrics. Let's show results. Let's show that we're doing a good job. And then that builds confidence for folks to say, let's put more money here. This is working. 80,000 jobs a year tourism brings in. And that's from a study that was done in 2015. We need to wait till this year to do one for 2016. 80,000 jobs. 24 million visitors come here a year. I mean, this is a huge, huge boost to our economy overall. 5th largest business in Rhode Island.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about this clever little program that's only running for a week. You going to the airport this week? Watch out. All right, so if you're there this week, you could get somebody to walk up to you and say, hey, you're from Rhode Island? And how does the whole thing go? Show me the pin when you get a chance, Eric, and we'll explain what. Well, I've got one, you know. And I said on the radio I would wear it if I was in the airport. Why not? I'll keep it, and when I travel, I'll put it on. I asked some radio listeners. Of course, I got waylaid on Friday afternoon when the news of Benny's closing came up. You have a thought on that, by the way? That's not necessarily in your wheelhouse, but that's...
Oh, it's terrible. That's like an institution, a Rhode Island institution.
Yeah.
I know. I had my friends from New York and New Jersey. They were up a few months ago, and we took them to Benny's to buy our beach gear. And she said, "I'm so sorry that it's closing." My 5-year-old said, "When is the end of 2017? When can we go to Benny's?"
Right.
I mean, it's really a tough.
A little bit of a culture
day.
hit.
Yeah.
It'll be the leading where it used to be. Direction barometer, no doubt about that.
Where's the apex?
Yes,
Where's
exactly. We'll be talking more about the Benny's closing over the course of the week. I can promise you. But one of your vendors came up with this idea, real quick. What is it all about in the airport?
So this is an idea, and I think you know this, that we have a Rhode Island agency on board called Nail, and they're lovely. One of the first ideas out of the gate was, we as Rhode Islanders are passionate people. We should get out there and talk about this. We should create something where we're going to, ask folks to get out, be champions for Rhode Island, be positive, talk about all the wonderful things we have. What better way to get our own champions out there? And pins are very trendy, and I think Lexi confirmed with you on Friday that they are very trendy.
Yeah, I didn't know pins were trendy. You know.
And
I have a bunch of pins, like in the top drawer of my bureau, right? That just accumulate over the course of time. And my wife would go in there, "You need this stuff?" I go, "No, I don't know why it's in there, because I can't throw anything away." I'll try to keep this more prominent. Okay. Yes, but
my designer has a little old Rhode Island red pin. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's funny
but,
that you keep those things around. But you're gonna kind of tap on people's shoulders in the airport and say, "Hey, you're gonna if you're leaving town temporarily, we'd like you to put on a pin and yuck it up."
That's right. So we say, congratulations, we're now crowning you an ambassador. Can you go out and spread the word about Rhode Island to whomever you're visiting, wherever you're going, and tell them that they should come here and book a trip and visit Rhode Island? And so we'll be at the airport starting tomorrow for the rest of the week. And we're going to go past security, so we'll get you when you're relaxed with your coffee and your newspaper waiting at your gate, and just have a quick conversation with you and ask you to be an ambassador and deputize you.
What's your expectation for this?
I think it's nice that folks can, first of all, you get this, people love gifts, and I think it's very cool, and I do think people will adorn these and wear them all the time. And I think it's just going to create positive, it's a community event. That's what I love about it. And I think Rhode Islanders, we are unique people. I mean, I've lived away. I lived in LA and I lived in New York, and I felt like people would say, "You're from Rhode Island, you are different." And I do think that we think about our state differently. I moved home to raise my kids here. I left a thriving career in New York because I said, you know what, I want my kids to be raised in Rhode Island. I don't know how many people do that with their states. They say, I want to move back. So I think we are a positive people. I think we are different than others and more passionate about our state than most people. So I think it's everyone coming together and saying, you know, celebrate Rhode Island.
You know, when I'm away, we all go away, most of the when Rhode Island comes up thing, it's one of two things. Is that Long Island? No, it's Rhode Island. Or it's, oh yeah, that place is nuts. Or that's they got a lot of corruption up there, right? And then it'd be God rest his soul. Oh, that guy's Cianci, right? And then of course you've got this. What's the name of the series?
Crime Town?
Crime Town, thank you. I don't know why I lost it. Are you bothered by those things in your effort?
I'm not, because I feel like, first of all, that is the thread that is us. It's Boston is very similar, New York is very similar, Brooklyn, and
but they don't have the dominance of reputation for it.
I think it's our population that we're, but that doesn't, it comes up sometimes in business attraction meetings, honestly, with new companies, but it doesn't come up with tourists. And I think, again, you know, when we get out there and we talk about,
That's an important distinction.
Yeah.
It comes up with business recruitment, but it doesn't come up with people who want to visit. And that's primarily where you are, right? You're about to get people to visit.
I'm both.
Yeah.
So I help with the business attraction piece. So I work with our sales development team and the Secretary of Commerce to create all the materials, all of the reasons why, putting together the presentation.
But you're not engaged in the philosophy of what kind of businesses we want here. You're executing the plan.
So that was based on the Brookings sector, the Brookings report that divided us by sector to say here's sort of the low-hanging fruit of where Rhode Island would be. You know, these are kind of the easier businesses to pull here. So we base all of our communications and materials on those.
Do we need a big hit? Do we need Amazon?
We love Amazon.
But listen, I think it's great that the governor's confident that we can compete in that environment. If you say we can't, well then the bar is set low. What happens there, who knows? The governor and I have a little philosophical difference on the way we ought to be going about business. I'd like to see a more tax-friendly environment across the fertile ground and let it kind of take care of itself. She seems to want to pick winners and losers. And at least she's done what she needs to do to execute that particular job. Your input is in what? Just making it happen based on what the philosophy is. And you could react to any philosophy, right? Because or are you philosophically married to the politics of this as well?
Well, I'm very much here is why you should move your business to Rhode Island. Here, and it is about, quality of life and cost effectiveness, but it is about our tools and our tax incentives and all of the reasons why a business with our talent, 11 colleges and universities.
Yeah.
So we put together the materials. I mean, I will say just on the Amazon thing, one of our people in Biz Dev got a call from someone in Boston Economic Development.
Biz Dev, by the way, is the language for business development. Okay? Just want to keep you, I know you're on the couch, trying to follow this high-level thinker over here. Go ahead. You're saying.
But she got a call from someone in Boston Economic Development that said, you need to throw your hat in the ring for that. Rhode Island needs to win that business. And she's had, we have, we've been doing PR, we do our own business outreach, things like email blasts and social media, all of the marketing tools on the business attraction side, talking to CEOs, buying advertising in CEO Magazine or places where site selectors read. And she's had folks reaching out to say, we really need to talk to you about Rhode Island. And that is a huge sea change for us. There was no incoming calls when we started this 18 months ago or 14 months ago. And now they have thousands and thousands of conversations happening all the time.
Okay, so how do we, the people, get to know that the thing is moving upward? We'll talk about that in our final segment when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back with our conversation with the Chief Marketing Officer for the state. So I'm big on metrics and results, right? So you got what, $4.5 million in your budget, and you've got to squeeze it out. You're finding digital platforms, and your expertise in being able to find the multi-levels of where to go, I trust is completely what the state needs. But how do you explain to the everyday taxpayer out there output, input? You know what kind of economic, hey, we reached this comes? Is there one? Is there a metric that says we reached this level because we invested this way?
So we, meaning I, can talk about the platforms that I oversee to say, I know that our social media has grown 25%, meaning 25% more people are coming to follow us and to like us. So that means that there's an interest there. I've seen that our website has gone up 46%. So again, I know that many X amount of more people are more interested around than were before.
Does the website traffic result in registers ringing?
It does. I mean, we'll see travel guides are, but I was mentioning to you, we are developing a new website, and that'll be launching in the next month or so, and that will truly track. We will really be able to see, we place an ad, this person has booked a trip here. And that will be invaluable knowledge to say, well, this platform's really working, and that's what's great about digital. So
you've been somewhat disabled in this manner because you don't have the technology that you need, and that's coming momentarily?
Yeah, and that was the first thing I did out of the gate was update our website. It's taken 9 months because it's
But you've got a new system coming in. Will it be resident, taxpayer, consumer, interactive friendly?
Yes.
More of that.
Yeah, it'll be really intuitive. Again, you can say I like a certain something, and that's how I want to book my trip, and here's where I want to go. And
so this new campaign that you got coming up, I know you don't want to spill any beans, but will it be something that everyone goes, oh my gosh, or will it just be an upper level of what you're doing, kind of subtle, something that the state doesn't really know is happening because it's happening outside the state,
well,
in the
it's
periphery?
happening outside of the state. I mean, we'll definitely, I think what's hard is that we want to tell people, so coming on your show and telling people what we're doing is not going to cost the taxpayer any money.
Of course.
Me placing an ad here in Rhode Island, that's going to cost money. So you feel like I don't want to waste their dollars, but at the same time, folks want to know what's going on. So we may do a very small level buy just so people can touch and feel what we're doing, like in a Rhode Island Monthly, maybe we'll put a print ad. The digital ads, we did do a small buy within Rhode Island. So if you're booking your trip, then on a certain site, then you may see a digital banner, and they're geo-targeted. So we pick where we want this to go.
Yeah, I'd like you to come back as early and often as you can. The conversation I didn't get to today, which I would love to get to, even on the radio at length, is how you market intra the state. I've never seen the state in a worse psychological disposition. I mean, this Paul Sox thing, for all the mechanics of it, whether you believe in the philosophy of business owners and private public, just the ugh factor that I've never felt more dripping malaise inside the state right now.
Don't you feel like the whole country is like that?
Yes,
though? It's really, that's why.
Why is that? I only have 20 seconds. Why is that?
I would say Trump, but I just feel like there's so much animosity. We need to come together. We need to work together. We need to be together on this, and we need to make this a better state.
Well, I wonder whether there's actually a marketing strategy that can address that. We'll talk about that in the near future. Great to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
If you're at the airport, grab a pen and yuck it up. Okay? Be right back. Tell you what's tomorrow when we come back. Amidst all that is weather and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot going on in Washington, and that Bannon interview on CBS is pretty hot. Professor Michael Kennedy from Brown will be here tomorrow night to talk about that. See you on the radio at 3 on WPRO. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.